All right, how's everyone doing? Yes, we're getting Rise into to 1K for sure. He's right on the precipice. Last time I checked, right?
Yeah.
You're right there. But all right, you ready to get started?
Yeah, bro, I'm ready.
All right.
Always ready.
A little something like eeny, meeny, rap from the beginning. Smoke a little pack, but the pack never timid. Church, but I'm seeing it. Curse when I'm winning. She need a new back. When it's back, I'ma bend it. Slap up some guinea. Ask me to hit it. Watch a nigga black super yak, I'ma quit it. Swerve in the Benzie. Perfume is Fendi. Bobbin' move fast, real fast like I'm Ricky. That's 'cause I'm pretty. Came from the dirt. Showing up a nigga can't handle the work. Y'all swing with it first. Young white girl like a ramble.
All right. So first of all, just kind of introduce yourself. Let the people know what you're about, what you do with the channel. Like, you can just kind of do some preliminary introduction stuff.
All right, so I'm Ryzen. I mainly do Tower of God content now. I started probably a couple months ago. I think my main reason for making the content to begin with is Bomb's character development. I've never heard anybody talk about it, and it's like, bro, you guys all know. It's some of the best character development I've read. So I thought, somebody needed to make a video on it. I made the video, and it did much better than my normal content. So then I did Rachel, and then I did a little theory, and then it just kept on getting better. And now I'm approaching 1K.
There you go. I actually did one in my first year. I think it was called The Growth of 25th BAM / Juvio Grace, but that was up to a certain point because I got issues with my boy in the third season. We'll talk about it. But how did you get into Tower of God? Like, how did you get into it? And like, when did you get into it? Because like for me, I've been reading Tower of God since I'm a dinosaur, but I've been reading Tower of God since the first year it came out. Like, it's been a really long time.
That's crazy.
Like,
Are you serious?
Yeah, I'm not a new fan. Like, when I caught up, we were still in the first season. We're on the last examination of season 1. So around the time where like local BRN pulled up and stuff, that's how long I've been caught up to Tower of God.
Holy, I did not realize that. You're crazy, bro.
Yeah, I knew about webtoons for like years. So when it kind of started popping off, I was like, okay, people finally know what this shit is.
That's wild. So for me, I had a friend, and he was like, this is kind of like a stereotype that has aged very, very poorly. But he was one of those guys when God of High School first got announced as an anime. He was like, bro, this anime is gonna break the internet. It's gonna be the next like Naruto, bro. You gotta hop on this. I'm like, all right, relax. So I hop on this God of High School hype train, and bro, it's awful, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like, this anime, I've heard it put this way. It was pretty much like watching a Tekken speedrun. Like, it was like so incoherent. And I was like, bro, like, what even is this? I'm like, all right. But this whole idea of like Korean like sort of comics being adapted interested me, because I was like, if there's all this like Japanese heat with all this manga, obviously there's other forms of medium that are going to be just as good.
Yeah.
And so I'm like, all right, there's another one that's getting animated, Tower of God. Let me check that out. So I check it out. I'm like, this is better than God of High School, but it's still a little mid. It's missing something for me.
I feel it.
And then so a lot of time passes, and I see this like reel on Instagram, bro, like a compilation, one of those like little mini AMVs.
Yeah.
And it's a bomb. I'm like, dude, it's like his transformation that he took against Data Jihad. When like he's wearing like the suit and he got the horns and all that.
The true self
I'm like,
mode.
bro,
Yeah.
I'm like, bro, this looks fire,
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, dang, bro. And so I'm like, all right, I'm gonna give this a chance. I heard the webtoon's better, and I watched from chapter 1 and kept on going, and I just kind of fell in love with it.
Okay, that's because I could kind of tell, because I would argue that I think people who kind of get that full binge experience and get to kind of just read it all the way up until now, I think they see it a lot differently than like a lot of us that have been here for like a really long time. And that's not to say that's good or bad. It's just interesting to see the contrast sometimes, because you're almost sold like a bill of lies, where it's like, this is what y'all like, because it reminds me of how I got into One Piece with like 4 kids. I'm like, who is this stretchy kid? Like, this is not moving me. This is whack. All right, like, this is mid. Then later on, I'd seen like a scene like, wait. This is the same show with the rubber pirate. Hold on. And then yeah, but every webtoon adaptation I've seen is awful. all of them. I don't like God of High School, the manhwa webtoon either, but I don't think that anime did it any justice, if I'm being completely honest with you. Noblesse, they tried a couple times. All of them are not very good. And God of High School, yeah, that's just jarring. Just a jarring editing nightmare. So,
yeah, I tried Noblesse, but the first episode, bro, put me to sleep, bro. Like, I was coughing. Like, I was the one in the coffin. You know what I'm saying? Like, bro, had me dying.
It's my very first webtoon. So like it's got, I've always said this. It's got a special place in my heart. I don't think it's that good. It's very formulaic, and but like Frankenstein, I think is one of the coolest webtoon characters ever. Like I love that guy. He's awesome. If there's any saving grace, it's him. And just so you know, like when it comes to like narratives and storytelling, the thing that I care about most are characters. Than like plot and subplot. So there's usually a character that I could really attach myself to. I'll be okay. And Frankenstein, he was him. He was that guy. So, but yeah. Okay, so that's interesting. So you're a BAM guy. This is gonna be fun because I think I have been I'm known in this community as the BAM hater. Not because I hate him. I just hate how SIU started to tackle him after the last station. But we'll talk about it.
Oh man.
Yeah. I have issues with it's weird though because it's one of those things where I hate saying this because it doesn't make any sense. But you ever heard someone say like they don't blame the author, or they don't blame the character, they kind of blame the author? It's like I don't blame Bam, I blame Slave in Utero. Like he just does these weird things that make me scratch my head. But we'll get to it.
Yeah, we'll get into that, man.
Is Tower God your favorite webtoon?
Yeah, I'd say so.
Okay. It's my second now. It's been my favorite for a really, really long time. Like since
what's your favorite?
Kubera Won the Last God. I think
have not seen that yet.
It is. It's right. I always admit that it's something that's made for me because like when I speak about like what I did well in school, like academically, it was critical thinking, English, philosophy, like things in that realm, writer's craft. And I really care about like storytelling. Like I even pursued that like after like in post-secondary. So like I really love storytelling and great writing. And Kurigama is a phenomenal writer. I just have tons of respect for her. And I've seen a lot of cool stuff. So if you really, really, really care about storytelling and like sharp writing, I think that's the story for you. Definitely give it a fair chance. But it's not like action heavy. So if you're a person who needs someone to get like punched every once in a while, it might not be for you. But I love Kubera.
Nah, one of my favorites is Monster, which is kind of similar to how you described it. Mm-hmm. So I think if it's like a very well told story, that's something I'm definitely into for sure.
All right, bet. So definitely give that a chance when you get to. But speaking of that, before we hop into like the meat and potatoes of the Tower of God stuff, like what other shit are you into? Like anime, comics, sports, whatever, dancing? I don't know, anything random like that. But like like what are some of your favorite series? If you're into anime and stuff, games. I don't know.
Okay, all right. So I haven't, in terms of like sports, like activity, pretty much like stuff outside of like all the nerd stuff that we're into, right? Mm. I haven't played sports since like high school because right now I'm currently in college. Okay. And it's kind of like a whole different playing field in college. Either like you're super duper competitive or you're doing it in like a club, and I don't really got time for any clubs. So sports, I don't really, I'm kind of chilling off it. I go to the gym, but that's about it. In terms of like games, I'm really, really into like From Software games, Dark Souls, Elden Ring, Sekiro, all that stuff. It's probably my favorite. Yeah. Okay. That's gonna be my favorite genre. Also like FPS games too, but
I'm trash at shooters.
Me too, but it's still fun.
I blame it on being Canadian. That's what I blame it on.
I actually did. Fun fact: I got top 500 in Overwatch, which is pretty insane in my opinion. But it was on Xbox though, so nothing too crazy. Nothing like.
Is the user base there a little lower?
Yeah, it's like Xbox is kind of just casual in general, but
okay.
Yeah, and in terms of like manga and like webtoons and stuff, I don't really read too many webtoons actually.
Okay, that's fine.
I probably read like maybe 5 or 6. Mm-hmm. If you include like Soul Leveling, the beginning after the end, that stuff.
No, they all count. They all count.
Yeah. In terms of manga, I'd say my top 5 right now, it kind of changes, it varies, obviously, but I'd say if you ask me like right now off the top of my head, I'd go with Monster, JoJo's. JoJo's manga is so underrated, bro. Like, people don't be diving into that manga.
We'll get along great if you're a JoJo fan. We're good. We're good.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
and I like
Urasawa.
Sure. Urasawa's dope. So
yeah. I throw Bleach in there. I think it's my favorite action in terms of like fighting and all that.
Could tell by the character avatar and the visor mask.
Oh yeah,
Ulquiorra swag.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'd probably go with Berserk as well, even though I haven't even finished it because I don't want to not be able to read it fresh. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like I like it so much, I don't want to finish it because I want to be able to read it. You know?
I understand, even though I'm RP Miria, but
yeah.
Tragic.
And then Tower of God would obviously be in my top 5 as well.
Okay.
What if I love Hunter x Hunter? Nah, I think Hunter x Hunter is a little boring.
they said that because I'm the resident Tagashi hater. I have no smoke with Yu Yu Hakusho except really the ending I don't like, but I think Hunter x Hunter is overrated, and I don't think Tagashi's a very good writer. I think people overrate him, but
that's pretty spicy to be honest.
Yeah,
I don't think I'm not that far, but I do think it's a bit boring.
It gets them riled up every time. Like I recently put out a video about it, and man, that comment section is not nice to me. They're not nice to me. They're calling me slow, all kinds of ad hominem. It's funny. I don't mind.
Yeah, it's fun. It's
okay. I actually like I'm backwards. I kind of thrive off negativity.
Me too.
For
me, people saying some dumb stuff.
Yeah,
it's like the best, bro. I just laugh at it.
Yeah, yeah. For me, I'll go like Gintama, Sundome, Medaka Box, Wandering Emina, One Piece, and like JoJo. Like those are like my favorite. Like when it comes to like anime and manga and stuff. Monogatari, I'm a huge fan of. The light novel series is my favorite anime specifically because I'm an Ishin guy. I think he's a genius writer. So, but yeah.
All right.
But yeah, now they're saying we'll get along even better now because you don't really care for Hunter x Hunter like that.
What about games? What kind of games do you like?
I like anything that's good, but I'll be honest. Like ever since playing Undertale in 2015, I became an indie merchant. Like I love I like indie games a lot. So like I'm the guy playing these little. My friend Simios makes fun of me like you always playing your little 2-pixel games, but like games along like Hollow Knight. I like Shovel Knight. I like River City Girls. My favorite game of all time for a long time was Paper Mario: The Thousand Year Door. I think Bug Fables is a better game, so I say Bug Fables now. I'm a Zelda guy. I really like Breath of the Wild. I used to like Kingdom Hearts. I used to like Danganronpa. They all betrayed me. They betrayed me in the end. But yeah, I would say I'm a guy who tends to like indies, adventures, RPGs and stuff like that. But yeah, my favorite game is probably Bug Fables. But I'm a pretty like quote unquote niche gamer, if you will. I like Smash.
Yeah.
I like party. I like for fighting games. I like I like platform fighters. I'm very excited for multiverses. I really like Rivals of Aether. I like Smash. I'm drawing a blank, but
you ever give Jump Force a try?
Oh God, no. I didn't.
Nah?
I wasn't blowing me. I didn't. I like the trailer, and I didn't even like the other one before. It was a Jumpstar Victory Versus. I was like, it's alright.
Yeah, it's alright.
Yeah. Oh, do you like JJK?
I love Jujutsu Kaisen.
I just caught up the other day again, so I was behind.
That you see the newest chapter? I'm not gonna get into it in case there's people in chat, but yo, it's wild, bro.
Restless Gambler going crazy.
Yeah, Jujutsu Kaisen is probably. I think in terms of shonen, I think it's the perfect example of how you do a shonen. I said Bleach was my favorite, but I do think Bleach is a bit outdated in the way that it paces things.
Interesting.
I'm the first one to say, although as much as I love it, Bleach's pacing is absolutely horrendous. But I think Jujutsu Kaisen takes everything that's great about Bleach, the characters. It adds a slightly more compelling story while keeping the good, complex, dark themes, and I think it just takes that pacing and just cranks it up like way up, and I think that's what makes it like really, really good.
Okay, I feel that. My problem with Jujutsu Kaisen is mainly my problem with My Hero. It's not even like I don't think it's bad or anything. I don't have any like grandiose thoughts about it in any direction. They just keep fucking with the characters I like. They don't get they're dead or useless, and I hate it here. That's what happened because I was a Todo guy, I was a Gojo guy, I was a Mojito guy, Nanami guy. Nanami's my favorite character, and it's just like wow,
me too.
Wow, you guys did this. You bodied everybody I like. Sealed, useless, amputee, dead.
Yeah.
Wow. So like with My Hero for a long time, it was like All Might and Mirio, and I'm like, what do you guys want from me, man? I can't live like
too,
this,
bro.
So I have terrible.
Bro, I totally agree with the My Hero stuff and Jujutsu Kaisen, but the thing is, when we take a look at My Hero's roster, bro, they got like 3 good characters, and half of them are like packed up, right? Like there's like only like there's like 1 or 2 good characters left, bro. But I think Jujutsu Kaisen, they have like a huge roster, like and even though there's characters like Nanami, you know, as you're saying, Mahito, characters that are like no longer in the picture, right?
Yeah.
There's still like I'd say at least half a dozen characters that you're gonna look at and can fill the void just as easily. Like Yuta, now Hikari's in that conversation. Maki, after her like her whole arc, she's definitely in that conversation for me. So I think Jujutsu Kaisen's just able to supplement it more.
I don't get the Maki love personally, but she went crazy in those 4 chapters. I'll definitely say that she did.
Maki's just a scuffed Toji. She's just a Walmart Toji. That's the that's the appeal for me.
I feel that.
Yeah.
All right. So I put Kundata Adwan there just because that's what your thing, Avi, was. I wasn't sure if he was like one of your favorite characters or not, but like who are some of your favorite Tower God characters? Like you can like list off like 3 to 5. If you have a favorite, go ahead. Mine is Mule Love. He's right there. That's my guy.
Yeah, I was gonna talk to you about Mule Love too. There's something I want to talk to you about that, but we'll get into that a little later.
Like
yeah.
That's my goal.
You're saying about Edwan, bro. I don't even like, bro. He's pretty. I can't really consider that guy even top 10 to be honest, because like either we just don't know much about him. I think he's just. I really like the design, and I just didn't want the repetition of having that one my little avatar on my profile for every single thing. So I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just put Edwan on there.
Fair enough.
So that's that.
Okay.
But I'd say my top 5 characters. I think I mentioned this in a video recently because somebody had asked, but it's gonna be Bomb. I'd say, I think you're probably gonna hate this, bro, because I was just looking at one of your videos earlier today, and you were throwing out a lot of Bomb and White slander. And
I don't dislike White. I just think he did him dirty. But keep going.
All right, I think it's gonna be Bomb, White, Calavan, Yazracha. And then this is probably my hottest Tower of God take, which I don't even think should be a hot take, but I'm gonna throw Rachel up there. I think Rachel is an amazing character, and people get mad for no reason.
Rachel is the best. I think she's the best written character in Tower of God.
Thank you.
I don't. But yeah, for me it'd be like Mule Love, Anak. I'm kind of a season 1 merchant, so I really like. I call him Young Sleep, but Lore. I like Hots. Elaine. Oh, I forgot Elaine somehow. Elaine's one of my favorites. And Karaka is my Slayer. Mula's my favorite character though. He was my favorite character when I read it the first time though was Kun-Ran. Kun-Ran was my favorite character in my first run. I'm like, this guy is the guy.
Or he's cold.
Yeah.
He's cold with it.
But after rereading it, like I think maybe the second time, I'm like, I like Mule Love. I love this guy. And then I couldn't believe he came back in the 3rd season. I said, oh, I won.
Oh, I can only imagine if you've been reading for that long and he's your favorite character to see him coming back. Ron, you have a live reaction of that? On your channel?
Yeah.
I'm gonna go watch that when we're done.
Yeah, I went crazy. I have a video for like 10. I think it's 10 minutes of me going crazy, especially like the Sicarius chapter where like he escapes from the webs and like helps him and frees all the Houndborns and shit. I'm like, he is the freer of slaves catcher Freeman. Respect him. He's the greatest. He's the greatest ever. That's my guy.
Greatest since MLK or what?
There you go.
No, not MLK. What am I saying?
Well,
Lincoln. I'm like, you're tripping.
But yeah, that's my guy. How about any standout moments or some of your favorite moments from Tower of God?
All right, I'd say for sure, Bomb versus Data Jihad is
easily one of the best moments.
When he finds out that he has like when he kind of has this realization that, you know what, like, I'm gonna just, do what I want and be myself. And then he gets a power up, not from like, because the entire series he gets power ups from the dumbest stuff. He's like, oh, like Kun is like, hey Bomb, look at that rock, bro. You think you could absorb that one? Or like, hey Bomb, here, I'm gonna punch you, and then now you're stronger because you learned that punch. Like it's the dumbest like power ups ever. And this is like a power up that comes from like straight emotions, and like the way it's written and the way it's built up, I think is nearly flawless.
Okay. Yeah,
that's probably my number one.
I'll never forget 305 when just Jihad's power just comes to what my friend calls the sword art arc, the hidden floor, and we're just like, we're all just like, collectively like, what just happened? He's here? Like he pulled up for real? That was one of them. The 3 orders, we went absolutely ballistic when the 3 orders, especially that killed the entire Pobedal family. We're like, excuse me?
Yeah, that's wild.
There's so many great moments that I could think of. I really like Yuri versus Karaka a lot. The Kranos and everything. Damn it. Infinite Past Lives, World of Darkness. There's a lot of really, really, really cool stuff. But yeah, exactly. Chat saying I thought I killed you. The reason that I think Rachel's a great character is because of her hypocrisy and because the people try to like. It's hard to say. I'll make a video about it. I think I talked about her being the best character, but one of the things I like about Rachel is kind of just the general hypocrisy of betrayal in the tower and stuff, because people will look at her like, oh, you're a snake and you're this and yada yada, but like, how does everyone climb? Everyone's underhanded to some degree, but just that she's weak, she's not strong enough to do anything. This is her method of climbing. I think it's pretty brilliant, because she's kind of, I would argue she's most people's self-insert, because you'd probably be pretty useless in the tower, but then again though, we'd all be irregular, so you never know. But I'll get into that one day.
Bro, what you talking about? You say I would be useless in the tower? You don't know me, bro. You don't know what type of time I'm on.
I'm trying to leave. I'm getting there. I'm like, yo, where's Wall Hike? I'm trying to leave. I'm not trying to be here. Y'all crazy. But I don't. Rachel was one of the characters I used to really, really, really hate the way the community does when it first started. But I've had so much time for that. What the Hajin song say about rage dissipating over time and whatnot? Your body gets stronger, but your mind gets weaker. I just became indifferent. Do I love Rachel? Nah, but I respect it. It's kind of where I am at this point.
So you're saying that when Rachel betrayed Bomb, that was your Hajin sung like crying breakdown moment.
I was like, I was like real life mad. Like I remember like going into the world and being like, but why did she do it? Like I was so confused. Like, why did she do that? Why did she push my mask? Like, what's going on? So.
Well, you gotta realize I experienced it through anime.
Okay.
And so I thought it was the funniest thing, bro. She just stands up and just gives him a little shove. I just started laughing. I was like, bruh, like it was kind of goofy, you know? Like it just. So, I don't know. I thought it was hilarious. And then I didn't realize how much it, like, rubbed people the wrong way until I got into the webtoon. I was like, I look at the comments. I'm like, yo, chill out, bro.
It's like Rachel did that to them. You know, like,
yeah.
like she did that. Like, she betrayed them. Like, it is funny how some of them react to it. But I like it. I'm here for it. Let's see what chat's saying real quick. And then we'll go with Jihad, the one true king. Thought I killed you. Depends on where you stand on Bam. I feel that. Lord, long live Jihad. Record chilling. I feel that. How do you feel about Mizuno? You like him?
Yeah, I think he's I've been working on a video about him. Oh my gosh, bro, it's been killing me, man. But yeah, I think he's a good character. I wouldn't put him in S tier. I'd put him in probably A tier.
I like him a lot because he's like the strongest character. That still has like he's still like the self-proclaimed champion of the tower, but he looks out for the little guy, and I appreciate that. I like that with Hell Joe, with Bam, before he even knew he was an irregular, and like he'll look out for the little guy, and I can respect that because I think most people have lost themselves as they climb to some degree. I would say, from what I can tell, it seems like he's retained a lot of who he really was. He hasn't lost that despite being so powerful. That's one of the main reasons why I have a tremendous amount of respect for him. But I think SIU has done a lot of really good things, showcasing how Rek is and who he is through his actual power display and showcase, which I think some people are underestimating. This is why I tell people Rand's actually a really good character, because you learn a lot about Rand through his combat, not through like not there isn't scenes of him like dunking on Novik and stuff like that, but like you have to sometimes pay attention to how much you could learn from a character, and I'll argue Yama was similar in that sense too, because like I call Yama's like a passive ability where like if you're scared of him, it doesn't like work on him. I'm like that's significant, bro. Like that's important. You gotta pay attention to that shit. But okay,
Yeah.
no, you can piggyback off that if you want to.
Oh yeah. So I was gonna say it's kind of crazy you mentioned that because I'm working on videos on both Ron and Yurik right now, and specifically about how their power actually has such a powerful message behind it. Because with Yurik, he basically what you said about him being pretty much the strongest and not losing himself, and with Ran especially, how you see how when he, I think it's that. I haven't read this in a while, so forgive me if I'm butchering stuff. But you know that one guy who like literally didn't even exist, and he was like guarding the entrance to the.
You talk about the hell train stuff. Yes, I remember vaguely.
Yeah,
yes. It's been a
so
while.
basically, the guy like didn't even exist like in the world. Like he was like kind of intangible, and Ran was still fighting him. And I remember there was this like huge debate on like, okay, is Ran fighting this guy because he's just like arrogant and he wants to prove himself, or is he actually fighting this guy so his teammates can feel protected and feel safe? You know, like I like the fact that it's open-ended and that there's no clear answer. I think there's a lot of value in that.
So do I. Sometimes some things I think don't need a definitive answer. You leave it open-ended for the community to debate on. I like that. I definitely agree there, 100%. But all right. So for the general like idea of this video for all the viewers, we're gonna be talking about like kind of like the I guess current state of Tower of God in a sense, but like kind of like we're like ranking the seasons and talking about each season and whatnot. Because why not? And I like having these general conversations before we hop into anything super specific when I'm talking to someone new about the series. So I think it helps me gauge kind of where everyone's mind is. But I will kind of just shout it out here. I go 2-1-3. I almost went 1-2-3 for my favorite seasons, but two introduced my favorite character and a lot of concepts that I really like. So I had to go with 2 because I think Tower of God hits kind of its peak stride at a point in the second season, though I've always thought the first season was a phenomenal foundational piece for everything to be built upon, though I believe that SLU has started to kind of let that crumble in the third season. I got a lot of issues with certain things he's done in season 3. Where do you stand there? Where do you stand?
Oh my goodness, bro. We're gonna have to break this down, you know what I'm saying? Because when you said 2-1-3, I was like, huh. It's interesting that he'd put 2 at the bottom.
No, 2's my favorite. Like, no, 2's my favorite season.
I know. So now I'm tripping. I'm like, this dude put 3 in the bottom.
Yeah. That's
wild. I'd say I'm 3-2-1. 3 is the best. 2 in the middle, and I put 1 at the bottom. I know you're not gonna like that.
I'm interested in hearing what you would say. I don't want to assume anything because like I've heard a lot of like opinions, so like but I hate putting words in people's mouth before they tell me, even if it's a common thought, because that's not crazy. Most people that I would speak to actually kind of actually it's a thing that I see with a lot of series, which I've always been kind of confused about, and not to like I'm not calling you out, but a lot of people tend to disrespect, in my opinion, the beginning of almost any series they like Phantom Blood. People disrespect. I never understood it. East Blue, people kind of disrespect. I never really got it. Tower of God season 1, like artwork, I can't get it. I kind of get it, I understand, but like he was starting off, he was kind of amateurish. You saw the improvement, I can respect that. Even Kingdom, I remember people telling me like, oh, like it doesn't get good to the Coalition arc. Like the first arc is really good. What are you guys talking about? But that's actually a common thing that I see. So they're saying 2-3-1. It's 2-3-1 for you. Okay, I see. You guys can share that in the comments if you want.
The most important thing about that is like it's probably 2 things. Number 1 is probably recency bias for sure, like especially with how hype like the last few chapters have been. It's like there's definitely a recency bias in my mind for season 3. And then also it's just the author in general, for almost every series, the author is going to improve over time. And so sometimes those improvements can make the series the improvements can make it kind of blow it out of proportion in a way. I don't know if I'm describing this properly, but even slight improvements, when you look back, you kind of realize that the series just isn't really the same without it. So I guess an example would be art for Tower of God. You go back and it's like, okay, well, I kind of been spoiled. Another thing I'd say is the quality of the backstories, right? In season 1, we didn't. I think the best backstory was Anak, and then we didn't really get much else in terms of like depth of like the backstories. And then in season 3, the backstories are going crazy. So it's like it's one of those things where like once the author starts doing it, it makes it a little bit more difficult to read that same work, but without that extra oomph and that flair. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I definitely think I'd probably agree with you on the backstory thing. There are a lot, because the thing with me is I will say though, I don't necessarily think more detail and more complexity necessarily equals better. But one thing that I said this because I'll say this because I don't know if you know, I immediately dismissed Yas Radshaw when I first saw him. I said no, I was wrong. I was wrong. He is one of the greatest things about the 3rd season. I was totally wrong about him. I was just such a Yama guy at the point I was rocking with him. Like, he didn't even go full K9 transformation. I was in my feelings. It is what it is. But I thought that the backstory, I'll be like honest. Like, I thought is it Haracha, whatever, his backstory was really long.
Yes.
It was really detailed. There was Kendrick DL too. His was pretty solid and stuff too. But what I liked about it, to me, what SIU was doing was showcasing their backstories to showcase how much of an apex predator that Yas Radshaw was. That to me said more about him than it said about those two characters. Personally, don't really care about them like that. But it's highlighted to me like Yas Radshaw saw Kendrick and said, you don't care about animals like that. You want to fucking dominate them. I understand that. I get it. And then when you kind of get the extra tidbit of how he was in the Lopobia family, it comes full circle. I actually think it's pretty brilliant. I don't like Wang Wang. He's easily the part. Katan called him the greatest beta male of all time. I might agree with that, but it's a great backstory. Shout out to Nenea and everyone. That was good. That was really solid. So I can agree with the backstories and stuff. It seems like he cares about it too, and puts a bit more detail and work into it. I definitely, as much as we're both Calivan guys, so I'm so happy to hear you with that. 100 Bands Calivan, that's my guy. And I didn't know if I liked him at first. At first, I couldn't take him seriously. So I like that. I know that you like him a lot. So that's
why couldn't you take him seriously?
At first, when he came, he was just all like, I'm about the mission. I'm here for the mission. And then like he had this moment where he was like, they were like, did you really kill my master? And he's like, well, I don't know, maybe, kind of. So I'm like, this guy's so unserious. Did you do it or not?
He's kind of tweaking out. He was tweaking out in the beginning. I'm not going to lie. Dude was like mad weird. Like, yeah. I remember like he was like, so his whole character was built up around like, oh, I am Jihad's servant. I will do anything for Jihad, right? Like that's his whole thing, like the stoic soldier, right? And he's out here playing with Bomb, like just playing with him. It's like, bro, that doesn't even make sense. Like how the character was built up. He's just playing around. And then SIU kind of realized, he starts to cover it up. He's like, he's making him say to himself like, oh, what am I doing? How could I have got so carried away? It's like, bro, what? Like, what you talking about?
Then he's just sitting there like, damn it, I'm fired. With a hole in his stomach.
You remember when he I don't know, this is like the most random thing ever, bro, but I remember he takes his thumb to his nose, he pushes it, he just cracks his nose. Do you remember that?
I thought he was trying to put it back in place because Hajin Sung like slapped it out of place. I thought he dislocated his nose.
Is that what happened?
That's how I interpreted it. I could be wrong though.
Because at first I thought he was snorting a little something. I was like, bro, that would explain everything. You know what I'm saying? And he wasn't. I'm like, yo, what's happening? And then I realized I thought he was like cracking it like as an intimidation tactic. You know how like tough guy crack fingers? I don't know. That was weird to me, bro.
No, I thought he displaced his nose. That's how
he probably did displace it. I'm probably just tripping.
Okay. But yeah. So like it just does me because like he is my favorite like commander and stuff. But the reason why I said that though is I think we had like an ongoing joke here. We were laughing so hard talking about his backstory. The stuff with him and his family in the crystal is totally fine. It's when they specifically spoke about the essence of bravery. If you ever seen Haku's video where it kind of speaks about it actually really translates to the essence of nothingness. It's like a weird one of those weird translation things that got lost, I guess, in English in Korea. Highly recommend that video. But that him talking about he was the pinnacle of bravery and this and that, and he's on a mountain of corpses, everyone's dead. I'm like, bro, he's a murderer. What are you talking? Why is this brave? He's going around just killing a bunch of people. He's like, his body was perfect. It was like perfectly balanced. I'm like, his like left shoulder was bigger than his right one. This is all cap. It's like, it's just a funny backstory to me. We call it the essence of murder, essence of killing, essence of apery, and all kinds of nonsense and stuff. But I do like the essence of bravery. It's cool. But then that nigga just turned himself into a chaos emerald. We're like, what? we just a master emerald now. So like we have a lot of like inside jokes like that. But that being said, though, Caliban is my favorite like jihad army like commander person. I love that guy.
Yeah, I agree. I actually made a video on like just focus on Caliban. I did mention that the translation to the essence of void, and I think I said something along the lines of like how basically what that kind of means, how I interpret it, is that the reason why it's called essence of void is because this whole family, if they never did this, right, if they never had this method of protecting it, when you really think about it, they could have had this huge family with like hundreds of rankers, even like probably dozens of high rankers as well. They could have been a very, very influential, not like 10 family level or anything, but like they could have been a very influential and great, like big, successful family, you know?
Yeah.
And basically they did it all just to protect this essence and get one ranker, right? So it's kind of like they did everything for nothing. Like the whole meaning of their entire journey, their entire value system, their beliefs, it's void, it's meaningless. They did everything for nothing.
Okay, I got
so
you.
that's kind of how I interpret it.
You're right though. Void was one of the things I think Haku said too and stuff. You might be right about that. I'm trying to but Chad asked your thoughts on Liborg. I don't have
bro,
I don't like him. I don't have no strong thoughts on him. Like dual family, cool. You know, that's about it. He's not. I wanted Caliban to pack him up, so I'm not Team Liborg.
Yeah, I feel the same way.
Okay. And Caliban was gonna do it. He was gonna do it. How did you feel about him getting like stronger and from like his like was it his Jian Sula mixed with like water vapor or mist or something like that? Did you think? I thought it was interesting because it's the first instance we saw someone use like an elemental like combination, which was cool. But then it powered up his opponent. Like how did you take that?
I don't really remember that, to be honest. I'm not the most familiar. Like
That's fine. I could refresh your memory. I could refresh your memory. So it's right after it's Chian Hiha and the really lazy girl Hasacha from Yasrachia's.
Yeah.
And she's like, okay, just go. She teleports to the field, and Caliban gets teleported to where Liborg is, and there was the two hatchlings. The one dude with the green, like blue hair, and the girl with the sea urchins. Then the one guy punches him, and he's like, was that a jab? And then he backhands him into the ground. And then then him and Liborg start going at it. So Liborg was like throwing a bunch of spears around and blah, blah, blah. And he said that one of his Shinsu qualities are useless by itself, but if I mix it with like my electric ability, and then it hit him, and the Caliban was kind of out, but then he got up, and he almost looked like Suna with like the dying will flames, and he was like stronger. And he's about to punch the shit out of Liborg, and I was like, yo, chill. Jihad needs this mission to go well, blah, 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 blah. And then the family, then Traumerei pulled up with Perseus and Pudidi and Holland.
Yeah. I remember that. That was gas. I love that whole thing. Yeah. I didn't, like, even if I don't know, sometimes people I feel like get too caught up in trying to find, like, perfect logic. Like, bro, there's no logic. They're literally, like, fighting with, like, the family heads out here like throwing fish at people, bro. Like there's no logic to this, right? Like there has to be some sort of logic, right? Obviously, like it can't just be like totally incoherent.
I look for internal consistency.
Yeah.
More so than perfection, I would say.
Yeah. So I didn't have any problems with how that went down. I thought it was. I really enjoyed it.
I thought it was interesting. So I was wondering, like, let's say I was like a really powerful flame user and someone didn't know it and they threw like some fire at me, would it strengthen me? Like I just wanted to know if that could happen to other people because it's the first instance of us seeing that. So I was just curious. But all right, let's start with season 1. What do you think was good and what did you not do or not like about season 1, or like why is it the lowest for you at the very least? Like what are you thinking? Talk to me.
Okay. So I'm just, by the way, I'm gonna kind of disregard art quality for the entirety of this, just because like it's just one of those things. It's like it's bound to improve. We all kind of know how it is,
I will
and I don't
say
really
this
think it's
though.
like
I think there's a certain portion in season 2 around like a little bit before the Florida. I think Name One Station about the Florida death and stuff. I actually think that's the peak Tower of God art. I love the artwork today. It's really good and he's gotten better. My biggest problems with him is I think he's currently in the 3rd season. I can't tell what's going on in his fights to the same degree I used to. There's a lot of extra visual noise. Shout out to damn it, I forgot who said it, but shout out to you. Visual noise to me. There's like a lot of powerful filters and overlays where I'm like, there's these really good moments and panels and sequences, but it doesn't flow the way that like Kaiser versus JVG does when he's bobbing and weaving through her weapon inventory. Like that shit was clean.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
I don't really see that personally. I kind of just see like upwards trend improvement across the board. But maybe it's one of those things where like when you read it weekly, it kind of hits different.
And we talk
totally
about, and I
that.
discuss it all the time too. So like I'm gonna notice a lot more. So like I always say that it matters to talk about your experience. Experience does not change the literal content of what's happening in the narrative, but it does matter. And 2, what varying level of fan are you? I call myself like I'm a crackhead. I look at every nook and cranny. Then there's like the passing enthusiast, the casual, or the don't really care about it type. So that matters. So, but continue.
Yeah. All right. So, for season 1, I'd say the biggest thing that I don't like about it is Bomb himself. So keep in mind the way I enjoy Tower of God is primarily through like understanding Bomb. I'd say I've said this before in my like videos and stuff. Bomb is my favorite aspect of the series.
Okay.
And so in season 1, Bomb I think is a I'm gonna just say it, bro. I'm not gonna like filter myself, bro. He's terrible. He's a terrible character.
You think
like,
so?
Yeah. I think he's really, really boring. The only really thing that's interesting about him is the fact that it's kind of cool how he's like so drawn to Rachel, and the fact that like he kind of lived like a ridiculous amount of time with the only thing thing in his life pretty much like at all like besides like rocks is Rachel, right? So obviously he's gonna like imprint on her like like a duckling or something, right? And so I thought that was pretty interesting, and the fact that he was like really brave was pretty interesting. But like bravery and loyalty are they're such basic qualities for a main character to have. And so I thought Bomb was very, very boring, uninteresting. I didn't really like him at all. I think for me personally, season 1 was carried by Kun and some of the complexities of like just kind of learning the tower. You know, when you're just thrust into this tower for the first time, there's a lot to learn, and I found that very enjoyable to kind of dive into. But other than that, besides like kind of learning and Kun, there's not a lot for me personally to get from it.
Okay. So, cause I would say that I look at it differently in the sense that like it's hard. This is a concept that's been hard for me to explain sometimes. But when a series first starts, and there's like the ambience of Tower of God to me was completely different than anything I had read up until that time. So you got to go back like a decade too, right? And I'm a little younger, so I hadn't had as much series under my belt and things of that nature. I'm also gonna change your thing to have Bam up there because I know you're a Bam guy. Get him up there. I'm gonna change that to better.
There we
one.
go.
Why is the background like that? I'm gonna fix that. But anyways, So for me, it was like I've never had a story that's like this, where like the ambience feels this way, and it kind of hooked me immediately because I was pretty smart at an early age from a critical thinking standpoint. Like I know where I fail at stuff. Like trust me, put me in a room with mathematicians and I'll look stupid in a minute. But I know where I thrive in terms of like my brain. But I really like, okay, this is very exposition heavy, but I'm in the shoes of this character right now. I don't know what's going on. I opened the door and I'm somewhere I've never been before. So even though it was exposition heavy immediately and they told me a lot of stuff, I was like, this makes sense because I'm kind of like, I learn with Bam as he goes up. So with first season with Bam, personally, I have no strong thoughts, really. I didn't love him. I didn't hate him. It was nothing like that. For me, it was like, okay, I can tell that they're setting up that this character has extreme latent potential. He's going to be OD powerful. We just gotta wait to see it play out. So I was just like, I'll just be patient on him. So I think season 1, my favorite characters were Anak and Lore and Lororo. Lororo's flex on that one guy about you need luck to climb the tower.
Yeah,
It resonates with me to this day. And I think the more I think about it, there's probably a lot of truth to that. And this is probably a better picture of Bam. There we go. Flip this. Get the blue shield out. Yes, sir. And this fit's nice. I like this fit.
There we go.
So yeah. So here's
match my outfit.
Yeah. So here's the thing that you might find shocking. I don't know if you know this. Hansung Yu's examination is my favorite part of Tower of God.
That is so interesting.
That's
really interesting.
I think every series has what I call the like I like Tower of God. You know, I was reading it, I was here, but I think every series has that hook moment where I say that's where you strap in and you're like, I'm not getting off the ride. That was it for me because I'm like, okay, this is going to be a series where things are not decided just by, I'm stronger, faster, my beam better. It's like you got to think. Shabisu, like Aguero's intelligent as hell, but he overthought it. Then Shabisu, who I thought was useless, is like, boom, figured it out. I'm like, yo, he's smart? That's my guy. He shot the ship. I like him. He's smart. I love that test because to me that was an indicator of, okay, smarts, you know, power, all of these things, luck are going to play into it. And I like that a lot. So I was very, very excited. So that was the hook moment for me. Like if I give you like another moment like in Bleach, it was when he fought Kenpachi and Kenpachi was like, this is what you're doing? This is all you got? After you let him hit him and his hands were bleeding, like, oh!
Yeah, that was my, like, hype, bro. Like,
I lost my mind. I said, oh, shit, this is different. So, like, that was that moment for me, so I can never forget that. And I think they did a lot of the little things, because I think Rachel's betrayal is actually pretty well foreshadowed in hindsight, in retrospect. It's there. You can see it. And I think that moment, obviously, in the last examination, is the most iconic moment in Tower of God. The push, I call it. I think is the most iconic moment because that is what sends Bam on his trajectory. Jovial Grace, F.U.G, and all of those things. I really liked the last examination with Yuri, Lopo Ren. The crown game was a really big for me too because I didn't think Young Sleep was going to get up and shoot a beam with Shinsu and stuff. So that was really cool for me. And the little test with Quant with the lead.
Quaint, but you're probably right. Who knows?
With
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm sorry. I speak French and English. That's all I got for you. But the way that Aguero set it up for like he set up the test like a certain way, I'm like, this is really good. So like, there's a lot of really small stuff for me where I think he just laid a really strong foundation. And to me, you can't that's not true. It's hard. Like I respect everything that happens after it because of how well he set it up in the beginning. I think if that foundational piece is shaky and you try to build upon it, it just crumbles and the whole house will break down. So I look at it the same way I look at like East Blue or Phantom Blood. May not be like the greatest thing ever, but I'm like, Dio is the catalyst for so many things happening in every other thing. And without the beginning story of him and Jonathan going at it, you don't have Battle Tendency, you don't have Stardust Crusaders, Diamonds Crash, or Unbreakable, depending on whatever. You don't have that. So I have to respect the beginning, and I've always been that way. It's a personal thing.
Yeah, I definitely see it, but I'd say, like, for example, East Blue, I'd kind of compare season 1 to East Blue for a second. So East Blue, I feel like as a standalone, like if we take out everything that happens after it and we just go to like where like, let's just say One Piece ended where they said, okay, yeah, we're off to the red line, right? We just take East Blue by itself. I think there's a lot there that you could enjoy. And I think there's a lot there. It has a lot of value as a standalone. I think it's very, very, very good, right? Whereas with Phantom Blood and with Tower of God Season 1, I think there's a lot, like this is obviously just how I see it, but I think that there's a lot that the author there's a lot of enjoyment that the author sacrifices a little bit in order to build us up for the heat that drops in the upcoming seasons.
I hear what you're saying. I get you.
Whereas I think East Blue, I don't think Oda holds anything back. I think East Blue is just like straight gas the whole way, and it only continues to build off of that greatness, right? But whereas with Phantom Blood and whereas with Tower of God Season 1, I feel like there's a lot that's held back, a lot that the author puts in specifically to bring up later that doesn't really capture you at the time. And I think there's a lot of stuff that obviously it could have been improved, it could have been done better, but at the same time there is value in it as a standalone. But I just feel like there's a little bit too much that is pretty much like sacrificed in season 1 in order to get the greatness that happens in seasons 2 and 3. You know what I'm saying?
No, I totally get that, because it's kind of what I've like when I think of like the Zack Snyder like DCEU trilogy. I'm like, the biggest problem with Batman v Superman will always be that instead of making that movie good, he's setting up the next movies. He's so focused on what's going to happen after, he's not making what's happening presently the best it can be. So I can understand that thought process. That makes sense to me. But
yeah, that's something I struggle with, like, personally, because I'm trying to write my own stories as well. And so there's a lot that I want to do. Like, I'm very much inspired by things like, I'd say Tower of God and what's that other? Black Clover as well. I haven't mentioned that yet, but I think Black Clover's storytelling is pretty underrated. And so there's a lot that I'm trying to do in my personal story, where I'm trying to like put a lot of foreshadowing, a lot of setup that like gets like to where like maybe like I don't know how to convert like novel chapters to like webtoon chapters, but like basically like much further down the line you'll like, whoa, that actually turned out to be this. But there's like a fine line to where you have to balance, like, okay, are you setting up too much for the future and you're not like allowing your readers to enjoy the present? I think Tower of God, as I've been saying, kind of like it falls on the wrong side of that line for me personally.
I would actually put Tower of God and One Piece in that, where there's so much, there's just so much, like, it gets frustrating to not get any answers at some point, and you just keep kind of stacking and piling on mysteries or like, you know, things that you really want to know, especially after a certain point. Like, I don't know how far you went in One Piece, so I won't say anything, but like I'm at the point now where it's like, do not show me a shaded fucking character. Just reveal them. I'm tired.
For real.
We're 1,000 chapters, 50 chapters in. Like, don't do stuff like that at this point. Like, I think it's really, really dumb. So, yeah, that made sense to me. I hear you. The only pushback I have for you with Black Clover is it's not even your fault. So don't. The fan base lied to me. I would have taken that series. I would have been perfectly fine with it, because you're like, Asta is the most unique. God, I've never seen. Blah. It's so different. Who do you know? Who got anti-magic or something? I'm like, Toma, Index, Imagine Breaker. It took me 2 seconds. And so, like, I'm reading it with, like, that, like, okay, let's see what... So, like, I read it for, like, the wrong reason. It wasn't their fault. But that's why I don't read it. I don't catch it. I don't keep up with it at all and stuff. But, like, I actually don't have any heat with it. That's why I leave them alone for the most part. But they lied. That was what they did. That was wrong. They lied. So
yeah, that's blasphemous, bro. Asta is, like, my least favorite part of Black Clover, to be honest.
So,
like, even like the first like 50 chapters I think are like pretty trash, but I think the storytelling is when it gets good later.
Yeah. So yeah. So who lied to me? The fan base themselves. Because I was in a video with Dustin and some guy named Pale Ranger and stuff, and they were like, I'm like, all right, man, I'll try it. But also, I'll tell you this, because you wouldn't know. I'm very hard to please. Like, not like yes and no. Like, I am pretty critical, just because of my background, and this is actually like, you know how you say you're trying to write stuff. Like, I have published articles and short stories and stuff like that. I won a couple contests in high school for writer's craft.
Oh,
and things
wow.
of that nature. Like, I'm very, very well in tune with storytelling, writing there and stuff. Like, people still to this day send me drafts and things to look over and edit and blah blah blah, because I was an editor for a long time and I was doing online articles and everything like that. So that's kind of like where my bread and butter is, so to speak. That's like I told you, make me add and I'll just look at you like I don't add. I don't know how to. I can't debate this. I want to debate that 2 + 2 is not 4. I can't. I can't do it. So
wait till you get into discrete math, then they'll make you write essays on why 2 + 2 = 4. It's so dumb, bro.
So I just try to stay where my strengths are. So that's like philosophy. Yeah. So but that being said though, I don't really have any issues with Black Clover like that. It's a very fine series for what it is. But if they didn't lie to me, they would have been okay. So, but yeah. End of the day though, I do think that season 1 does a lot for me to be very interested. But you're definitely right, because they're setting up the, like, it's almost like a prologue to set up the journey of Bam. because then he's by
Yeah.
himself. Juvio Grace, Hajin Sung's training him and stuff. So I can see that now I'm thinking about it. I never looked at it that way, but I don't think it's that egregious in the first season, though I do think that we're at the point now where there's certain things that I think, like for example, do you think power, recognition, or influence is what's the most important thing you think in the ranking?
I'd say it's hard to say, honestly. I'd say
See?
it's probably like 60% power, 40% influence, I'd say. But I that's just an approximation. It's very, very hard to say.
I'm at the point now where I think power is last, if not second.
Oh wow, interesting.
I think recognition influences the most because I'm trying to see a lot of things that I'm like maybe I'm overthinking it and stuff when I think about like a Bayek or Ryun and stuff. I don't think he's weak or anything, but the main point I'm trying to make is we don't fucking know. I think we should know that by this point, especially when they're trying to be like, yo, top 100, top blah blah blah. I'm like, this doesn't mean anything to me anymore. It means nothing. It's just like I'm at the point with this series. You can be like, this guy is part of 3 families, and until I see him in action, I don't judge him. I have no expectations because I have been let down. I have been surprised and somewhere in the middle by a lot of characters where I'm like, I just don't know how to gauge their strength naturally anymore. I have to just kind of see what happens and look at it in hindsight and be like, in retrospect, blah blah blah, yada yada, this and that and the third. So yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like for example, I think this is something. I think I watched a video of yours talking about Jin Sung Ha and Bomb. I also made a video on Jin Sung Ha and Bomb, like who's stronger. And Brahma just say like, I don't even think Jin Sung Ha is like in terms of power is top 100 level. And if he is, then that means Bomb is above that. That means Bomb's top 50 because
I said he was top 60 before.
Stronger.
Yeah. I said he was top 60.
Yeah, Bomb is much stronger than Jin Sung.
Yeah.
And it's kind of weird like how Jin Sung is like okay, top 100 and then Kalavan, he's struggling with people like Holland, so it's like Holland also top 100. Like I feel like there's a lot of people that like that should be in top 1 because like the families are huge. You know what I'm saying? The 10 families, specifically the Kun family.
Yeah.
And so if there's only like, if you're gonna tell me that there's only like besides like the Urek, Jihad, and the 10 families, there's only like 80 people in the verse that are stronger than Jin Sung Ha.
Yeah.
That's a bit ridiculous to me.
Yeah. That's why I'm like I wonder what it is. Is it because he's known as the massacre of the Ha family? Is that event what catapulted him because that's the influence that he has that permeates through the tower? So I have those questions, but like that's kind of one of my. I mean, we can. Do you have anything else you want to say about season 1? We can hop to 3 and come back to 2. I don't mind leaving 2 for last.
Maybe one more thing about season 1. This is probably gonna tick you off a bit, but I feel like a lot of the time that we spent with some of the characters, like for example, maybe not time we spent with them, but a lot of the characters in general. Actually, this probably won't tick you off. This will probably make sense to you, but I feel like they're underutilized. I feel like the time that we spent with these season 1 characters, it feels cheap because we look back on it like, when's the last time any of them did anything interesting? Like, when's the last, like, a Knock was like the main. She had sort of an antagonistic presence,
She's
and then also
the
at the same
only
time,
demi
like,
princess that we know of.
Yeah, she was like built up as like this super important, super powerful, like super insane lizard, like princess of Jihad hybrid, insane, and then like, bro, she literally was in possession of the 13-month series when she entered the tower. That's huge. That's a huge thing.
Right.
And what has she done in the past like 400 chapters? You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it's just kind of weird. Like it makes season 1 when you look back at it, it kind of lowers it for me personally because all of the characters are no longer relevant. You know?
When you look at it through that lens, I can't disagree with you. Just because it's like, they don't even matter. Like they don't do nothing. Like it's and to me it like hurts doubly because I'm like, I'll see them like, okay, here we go, and like, I'm sorry, Danhui, whatever Hatsu's sword is, that shit stink, bro. That's just that's how long. That's what I waited for. I
thought it was gas, but the thing is, like, bro, like, reveal it already. Like, let's see the thing. You know what I'm saying?
I didn't like it. I thought it was I thought it was gonna be a way better sword or a cooler sword, but like my issue was really like, I thought that the way that White was talking to him, he was gonna low key, not necessarily even train him, but like instill a different type of mentality into him, because when White's just bodying people, he's like, you're just a murderer, and he's like, White looked at him like, nigga, This is a sword. A sword is to kill, to slice, to cut, to stab. You're afraid of being a murderer. Put it down. Stop. And he just kept walking. I'm like, he probably needs to hear that. Okay, like what's gonna happen here? And then like that like just didn't turn into anything. But because he's like,
I don't really think that needed follow up too much personally. I think that like just him getting that message across and kind of like a little eye opener. I think that's all that was necessary for that specifically, because I feel like White's role in the story, SIU is trying to like limit it now, especially that he's like, you know, no longer present. So I feel like anything like prolonging in that direction, I don't think it would have been really the best direction, but you know, it could go either way.
I feel that. Yeah, I hear what you're saying in retrospect though. I just used all my data. Damn. I just looked at my phone. It said 100% been used. Did I use them? I didn't know my data was on this whole time. Shit. Okay.
Be like that, bro.
Oh, damn it. I have to wait like 15 days. Anyway.
Oh, 15?
Yeah, it's all right. I'll figure it out. But okay. What I wanted to one more thing I wanted to say about the first season, but I definitely agree with you where it's like, if like Lorray and those other characters did more things, because Anak is in the first episode of season 3, but she's just kind of there and she didn't really do anything when they're like, I think Dorsey's like whipping Traveler, and that was just like about it. And I was like, that's it. That's all we're doing. Okay, cool. And it was just it hurts. But
yeah,
here's some. Here actually, I have an interesting question for you. How do you feel about Karaka?
Crockett's all right. I don't think I think he's a bit overrated, just because honestly his design is really, really cool. So people kind of hype him up a bit. I think Karaka's all right. I think there's a lot of lore potential, but I don't think he's really hit his stride, and like I don't think SIU has done what he has wanted to do with Karaka yet. I feel like Karaka is simply just existing for now until SIU kind of just goes crazy with them. So that's kind of how I stand.
Do you think that in terms of how Karaka was initially presented and how he came across initially and how you see him now are complete like a 180 or no?
I wouldn't say 180. I'd say there's a lot of consistency. I'd say it's mostly just him recognizing the fact that Bomb has potential to kill Jihad, because at first he was like, bro, what you guys doing with this regular, bro? Like, honestly, don't give him the thorn. Why him? You know, he's kind of like not understanding the true potential of Bomb. And then once he actually gets that understanding, he's like, okay, now I see, you know, what the F.U.G elders were on about. You know, I understand. So now I'm actually willing to support this guy and to, you know, risk myself for him, because he is somebody who has potential to, you know, liberate the tower. So I think it's not his character changing, it's his perception of Bomb, and it's Bomb changing that like really gets to him. Okay,
so here's why I completely disagree. Right, the Karaka has because like I've always said this to some people, the challenge is still out there. It's been out there for like 4 years, where it's like, show me the like, and I've always said this. It's not everything that Karaka is doing and is acting right now. It's not nonsensical to me. It makes sense. If he has some low-key resentment or was like, you know, a little bit jealous because he was so strong and how much potential and blah, blah, all things make sense, but you have to portray that at some point. It's got to be somewhere I can look and be like, ah, here it is. Here's the panel, the text, the sequence where it's like, because like I actually I thought one of the most jarring lines to Tower of God to me is when Karaka comes out and he's like, did you really kill my master? And he's like upset about it. And I'm like, every action that you've taken has been in direct opposition to what Hajin Sung wants with Bam and Viola. To the point where they ask you, I'm saying you got to showcase that. He didn't. That's my issue. Him caring about his master makes sense to me. But then I'll go to a line like, I want to go eat, and he's like, I don't take my mask off for people I don't trust. I'm like, okay, so he doesn't trust Hajin Sung. Hajin Sung to me, at this point to him, is just his martial arts teacher. That's how I'm looking at it. And again, he's like, oh, I'll leave Bam alone, blah blah. And he's like, yo, Parkin, fuck that. Do what you got to do. Like, he's just not listening. He's doing whatever he has to do for his own personal goals, missions, and things of that nature. And then in the last station, all of a sudden, he cares. I mean, then he's writing so hard for Ha Jin-sung, and F.U.G doesn't even really care like that. They're like, hey, man, it is what it is. So I just thought it was very weird. The character does not necessarily feel the same to me, though I do tell people he always was actually pretty funny. If you go back to, like, the Floor of Death, when he gives Helljo a TV with just the news, he's always had those little moments. That's fine. Some people are like, oh, it's like that little moment with like Death Lady was weird. Like, no, he's done that before. For me, it's just this jarring. Like, I care about Ha Jin-sung so much. I'm like, where did that come from? That wasn't properly portrayed in my opinion. He could have done better with that.
All right. Okay. By the way, this is gonna be the dumbest question I've ever asked. I totally forgot. Is it Nia or Naya?
It's Naya.
Naya. Okay. You know what I gotta say to you about this, Naya? You know what I gotta say, man?
What's up?
You've converted me. I agree.
Oh shit. There you go.
I'm not gonna go demon time right now. I kind of agree, man. I think now that you put it that way, I totally like, because I was thinking, his perception of Bomb was kind of changing, and which is why. And I thought that I think the main reason I thought that, like, oh, okay, he just, I kind of got brainwashed by SIU, bro. I was like, yeah, he cared about Jin-sung this whole time. But you're right, he didn't. I think SIU initially wanted to write it as, like, Bomb being, like, the kind of good kid, and then Jin-sung, then Jin-sung and Karaka having this bad, like, not trusting, not loving relationship. Mm-hmm. And then SIU, I feel like, kind of backtracked on it and tried to, like, cover up. I feel like you're right, man.
Yeah. That's kind of like what I was trying to say. Like, some people see it, some people don't. A lot of Karaka fans definitely see it. I can understand though. You're not a Karaka. Who's your favorite Slayer out, by the way? And Slayer candidate BAM counts if you want to use him. Or do you like Yama? Do you like White a lot? Like, what's your favorite? Just out of curiosity.
Bam and White.
Okay.
And then I'm not. This is probably gonna sound blasphemous. I'm not the biggest Yama fan. Yama's alright.
I'm there now, but at the beginning of the season 3, I was Team Yama. I wasn't Team Yama over Karaka, but I was rocking with him. But after some things, yeah. But I had a heart again. It was like I was trying to tell. Because I think the main issue that I think some fans and we disconnected, where it's like, I believe that he cares. This makes sense to me. But he didn't showcase this. This came out of nowhere. It was very jarring to me. So
yeah,
that's all I was. That was the only point I was trying to get across. But I'm with you though. He hasn't done what he wants to do with Crocker yet. We'll see though. We'll see. I'm holding out. I'm hanging on a cliff with like 2 fingers and like 5 minutes of strength left, because I will switch allegiance. I will.
Yeah, it's one of those week to week things where it's like, okay, I binged the whole thing, so I don't exactly remember Karaka's relationship, so I kind of get this. I'm like, oh yeah, he cares about him, yeah, he loves him, all right, yeah, that's why he's going. And then with you, where you're actually like digesting each chapter individually, you remember specifically reading about Karaka and how they're kind of problematic, for lack of better words, relationship, and then you kind of connect the dots like much better than somebody like me who just like, just looks back on it, Yeah,
it just hurt, because I really do like him, and I want him, because then I worry about the line with him and Yuri, when Yuri was feeling like if she didn't destroy him or beat him now, that he would become her greatest enemy in the future. And I'm like, that's not real anymore, right? Like, that's still a thing. Like, should I hold on to that? Like, I don't know what to do with that information, so we'll see in due time. But all right, actually, let's go in order now. So we're going to season 2. Let's talk about season 2. Actually, interesting question for you. Do you like the Floor of Death? The Floor of Death is actually an arc that you'd be surprised some people do not like, or weren't too fond of when it was first going on. There was a lot of negativity surrounding it. I think some revisionist history has changed the perception on it. But I actually remember people roasting Mizuno. Like, there's this one panel where he pops up and people are like, this is his fit, this is his drip, he probably bald as hell under there and all kinds of stuff. Like, they were just going at him. But how do you like the Floor of Death or no?
All right, I think in my arcs tier list video, I think I put it in like C tier.
Okay.
And I think I kind of stand by that. I think, so the way I see it, right, is we have characters like Garam, we have Yuri, we have Karaka White, and we got Yurik, right?
Gosh, dang.
These 5 characters are so much stronger than everybody else there, right? And they are ridiculous. And so we have these characters kind of just carrying it, like learning about Garam, her, whatever. It's great. The backstory, absolutely incredible. Best backstory in Tower of God. One of the best backstories I've ever read. We have Yurik fighting, which is the most entertaining thing ever, right? Like everything with the Rankers is very, very solid. I absolutely love it. But again, as I've said, I kind of like to. Bomb and Kun are my 2 favorite parts about Tower of God. I love Bomb and Kun, and
I like Aguero.
I thought that a lot of the stuff with the regulars was very, very. It was kind of trivialized because they were so much weaker than everybody else, and so when you have things going on with like Yuri and Yurik, it's very hard to enjoy what's going on with Bomb. And on top of that, I thought a lot of like the chapter to chapter stuff was a bit more slow paced than usual, and I found it slightly boring in my opinion when Yurik wasn't on screen at least. So
Okay.
I'd say the flashback and Yurik specifically are 2 things that made the arc great, but there was a lot of things that kind of like anchored it down that other arcs don't really have for me.
I can understand that because that's generally the kind of feeling I'd had when like Calivan was going crazy and Yama and Yashpatra fighting and blah blah blah, and then we go to the stupid stock market, the game with the regulars and the fucking crap.
Yeah.
I don't want to see this. I don't care what they're doing. I don't care, so I can understand that.
Yeah.
Well, before I answered, did you take issue with like Urek having like the magic serum that could separate the rest of? Did that bother you?
Nah, I don't really like the Deus Ex Machina stuff. Doesn't really bother me too much because it's gonna happen. As long as it's not like stupid, I don't really mind. So I didn't really take too much issue with it.
Okay, that's fair. Okay, that was a point of contention with that arc too. Like, where did he get this? And I was like, I mean, honestly, fair enough. But he's Urek Mazino, and he's got an organization. Like, they could figure out a way. They might have shop connections and stuff. But
yeah,
it's to me one of the 6 best arcs. I don't know exactly where to put it today. I'd have to maybe I'll do another arc ranking or something another day. But I like it a lot because I think Urek is such a great he has such a great character and power display and showcase that I'm just like blown away by it. I think Garam's info dump about Arlene was it was very wordy, mind you, but it clarified so much. It was such a good lore dump. So that hooked me next to immediately. But there's a couple things in there that I'm with you that just wasn't really like interesting with the regulars kind of running around and stuff. But I think with like Enryu coming to this floor, and this being the floor where he had, he made it over 9,000 bangs, Crimson Shinsu make it rain, and like messing up, killing the administrator and stuff. All of that stuff I had a lot of high level of intrigue there. So like when I kind of combine all those things, I really like it a lot. I don't downplay its faults though. I think there's some issues there, but like I'm a person like for a narrative too, and I guess with arcs it matters to some degree, or sagas if you will. The ending matters so much to me. I've grown up to like when I was younger, you could invalidate an entire story with a bad ending. I'm not like that anymore. I'm not that extreme, but it still matters a lot to me. And I thought the way it ended was powerful with Gustang pulling up, and I was like, oh my god, look at him, majestic, great, I love it. Spatial distortion with deleting the memories, a bug is a bug, all of that, and then like right before Urek flies off with UJ, whatever his name was. He pushed. No one directly tells him that Bam's an irregular, but I'm like, he's smarter than he comes across because he put that together himself based on some other factors. Told him about the outside world and the stars and not to worry about it, and like gave him that big brother, like, yo, I'm your big bro, I got you, and he left. I love how that arc ends. I thought it's phenomenal. So yeah, it kind of resonates with me. But just to speak about this power showcase, I don't think sometimes people take it. I think SIU is very good at this. I wonder if you agree with me. He's good at this showing like the destructive scale of an attack, like how big it is or how far it really pushed someone back, because he'll zoom out.
Yeah, that's one thing I noticed, especially when reading the series. Most they don't zoom out; they just don't do it. But SIU does that a lot. I really enjoy that.
I think I took notice the first time I think at the end of the name hunt station when Yuri and Karaka were fighting and they're trying to cross the bridge, but they're so far below the broken bridge, but the aftermath of their fight is still reaching them that they're kind of scared to cross it. I'm like, wow. Like, was he always that good at this? And I remember I'm reminded of Caliban Jin Sung and one of the palm pushes, how far one of them got slid back. I'm like, he's very good at that. So I always give credit where credit is due. He's it's not something that I see other people do like that. Like, I'm with you. They tend to zoom in, but they won't zoom out.
Yeah, it kind of like, it's so weird because I have this one guy, bro. It's one guy. He's commented on my stuff multiple times, and he keeps saying like, "Oh, you're overhyping these characters. Bomb is grocery store level max. Calavan is I'm like, bro, what? Groceries? Bro, I'm grocery store level. Put me in a grocery store. You know what I'm saying? Like, what are you talking about? Like, what? Like, no, it's just tripping out.
It's hilarious to me because I'll give you some deep lore, right? some deep channel lore.
All right.
When Bam beat Da Jihad, I was trying to convince myself that he wasn't ranker level. So during the last station, right? I'm like, I don't know, nah, I'm not really, and this was a contentious point. Even SIU had a blog post about it, right? With him fighting Charlie. And I thought Charlie was about to body him, and I loved it. First of all, he used white noise, which like discombobulated his senses. I think he couldn't see anymore. I'm like, oh my god, because at that point I was calling Tower of God Tower of Beams. I was getting very tired of red beam, electric beam, fire beam, black beam. Like, bro, Shinsu is so diverse and limitless. Can we do something else? So that impressed me. Like, okay, white noise. He's about to get him with I think orange snake attack, and then Yuri threw the black march at him. I do like the black march coming back to him, going full circle from the first chapter. That was cool. But I was like, that to me validated that he was about to get clapped so easily by a new ranker. Shout out to Vince, because it's almost like, okay, if you want to, you can almost consider him like A rank, if you will, because he just became a ranker. So it's like, okay, using a newly appointed one to kind of test Bam's showcase made sense. I am so far on the opposite end of the spectrum now. It's funny because now the fan base is trying to convince me Bam is weaker than a bunch of characters. I'm like, no, he's not. What do your eyes see? Look at the chapter.
Out, bro.
Holland was some genius, and he immediately drew blood from him. Stop playing. He is one of the strongest people in the tower now. Stop
yeah,
it.
For sure.
And SIU plays into it too. SIU, I remember at the beginning of season 3 at one point when he beat one of the Houndborns. I think it was a ranker Houndborn when Doom and stuff pulled up. And SIU's like, you can't say that he's necessarily stronger because that guy didn't use K9 transformation. I'm like, Bam didn't pull out the Thorn, the second Thorn, the Black Mars. Like, stop pussyfooting around this. That's why I really love the chapter where he just beats that ranker. I'm like, thank you, stop.
Yeah.
Just cut the bullshit.
SIU was waiting for that. He was trying to build it up to that. But like, bro, like, who you think you're fooling? Like,
I'm reading the series. I know what I'm seeing, bro. Like, he's not high rank. I'm like, he's fighting Godot. Yama's number 2. I don't care if he's like, oh, whoops, no, he's fighting him. He took his leg. Like, stop playing with me. Like, Bam is OD strong. He beat White. Like, he is there. He's the guy now. Plus Leviathan now, and the White power up. I just want them to stop the cap. He's top 60.
I literally put that clip, the stop the cap clip, on my last chapter review when he said the line like, "Oh, I'm not as strong as you yet." I was like, "Stop the cap right there!" Like, come on, bro. We all know. I come to terms with it. It used to bother me for so long, but I'm like, hey man, it is what it is. But okay. So season 2, I think, starts off interesting with the introduction of Wagnan and stuff. Are you a Wagnan guy? Are you one of those people who like the Pokemon Master, or you're like me? You're like, it's whatever. I don't dislike him. It's just not a reason. I'm not one of the people who swears he's like one of the best characters in the series or nothing. I'm probably putting him. I'll put A tier, not S, but I put an A tier. I like Wagnan.
Okay. And like it kind of starts off with like what we call him. Well, Milios calls him JVG, but Juvio, Grace, and stuff. How did you like the kind of edgier Bam saga? Did that move you? Or what are you thinking? Like think kind of like beginning of season 2 up until when he reunites with Iraq and Aguero, and then he can kind of like climb with them again. And remember, Hodgson Sung initially tries to kind of stop him, but he lets them go, even though he could have still stopped them. Like, how did you like that moment? Because I think in a lot of ways that's Bam and that moment, and then all the way up until I will say I could say till the end of season 2, but I will say the last station I think is Bam at his best.
I definitely see why you'd say Bomb is best. I wouldn't really agree with that statement specifically, but I definitely do think that Bomb is great. As Jovial Grace, I felt like not unsatisfied at all, but I felt like I wanted more edginess out of him. You know, like at this point, Bomb was still like really kind. He still had that kind heart. He still hadn't like fully like, because season 3 now, Bomb's a whole menace. Like he'll kill people to save others. Like he doesn't care anymore.
Yeah,
but
he came embodying Hannibal's.
Yeah, in Jovial Grace, he still had that kindness in him, which I thought was a little weird. Like now, you look at Bomb now he looks like a kind little boy, but he's really kind of a menace. But when you look at Jovial Grace, he looked like super edgy, powerful. Everybody assumed he was like a ruthless murderer, but he still had that like softy nature. I thought it was a bit weird. I kind of wanted a little bit more edginess, you know. But you know, it is what it is. I thought I enjoyed it. There wasn't anything like disappointing or anything. I thought specifically that pretty much all of season 2, Bomb's character development was, I think I'd say the development was at its peak, not like the chapter to chapter, like who he was as a person. I'd say I like who he is as a person in season 3 the best. But like the development in season 2, I would say is definitely peak, and this especially what you said about specifically Jin Sung Ha and you know, forming that team with Sweet and Sour. I thought that was pretty good. At first, I was confused. I was like, Bomb, if you really care about these people, you got to cut them off now. But then I kind of enjoyed how SIU was not only showing how much Bomb cared about them, but also kind of like how Bomb, you know, had confidence in himself to be able to protect them, and had confidence he trusted them to be able to look out for themselves. Kind of like the Luffy thing, where it's like some people are like, oh, you know, why does Luffy let Nami go off on her own? It's like, bro, he trusts her, you know. It's like, it's one of those things.
He's got a rational faith in them.
Yeah.
That's well said. I actually would. My only pushback with you is that I don't think Bam has particularly lost that kindness. Did he learn to harden himself enough to have to make the difficult decisions? Because there's that scene where he has to look at all the dead bodies and destruction he caused. Yes, but I still think he's the kind, soft-hearted boy from the first season. That part of him has not. I'd argue hasn't particularly changed. It's still there. It's still one of his defining characters. That's why I like the Jovial Grace so much, because he's at war with himself in a way where it's like he's got to be this ruthless slayer candidate, but he's only doing this to protect his friends from being destroyed by F.U.G. And I thought it was kind of beautiful. So I really like that.
For sure.
And then parts after it too, where I'm like, okay, he's starting to come into his own and stuff. I really actually don't. My biggest issue in a lot of ways with Bam, though, throughout the second season and to this day, is I hate how much everyone babies him. A scene that stands out to me is Hwa-Ryun telling him, you're acting like Rachel, when he was tweaking over the train tickets with the Euro stuff, where I'm like, I need somebody who's going to hold him accountable like that. She's the only one that I've seen do it. For everyone else, Bam is the greatest, most perfect boy ever. I'm going to give him a hug and rub his hair. And I think if more people kind of held him accountable, or like, you know, hey, yo, that wasn't cool, I think his character would get elevated to another level. I like that moment because he really does think about it. He's like, damn, I was risking all these people just so I can get on this train to see where Rachel's at and blah, blah, blah. He thought about it. He felt bad. And I'm like, introspective moments like that I would like more. I'd argue the moments like, remember Cha Hai-Cha? Sorry, I might have said his name wrong, but it was the ranker that he met in one of the battlefields that taught him the zero palm technique when Evankel was training him. when he was going from battlefield to battlefield. He met a Haigh-Ranker who taught him a move that said you have the right to seek strongness.
I don't specifically remember that, no.
Okay, this is at the beginning of like the 3rd season. If I remember correctly, I think Bam's fighting Ghost at the time where it's happening. I don't remember. It might be Ghost, but he has like a flashback, maybe someone else, a flashback to that guy. Anyways, long story short, I think SIU has a repetitive problem of making Bam kind of go through the same thought process to quote unquote grow. I thought that was a rehash of what he learned about himself fighting Dada Jihad. About him accepting the monstrous part about himself, trying to put it together, and then he became his true self mode. I feel like he's rehashed that a couple times in the 3rd season, where like to me it's like the nail is in place, the table is set, but you're still hammering. Why? I don't know if you agree with that.
All right. First of all, you guys ready?
Yeah.
This is the I've been seeing people in chat. They've been saying that you've been stalling out the bomb discussion. You know what I'm saying? They've been saying you're not ready for it. But here it is. This is the bomb discussion portion of the stream. All right, you ready for this? All right.
Go.
So. In terms of people holding Bomb accountable, I have a problem with that because I feel like Bomb's entire point, like the one of the major themes of his character, is that he is a loose cannon, right? A force of nature that doesn't understand himself and that people don't understand. And so it's hard. I think what we really need from Tower of God is for something like, for example, I made a video like about Jin Sung, right? About how like we need Jin Sung to die, something crazy, right? And that's gonna be how Bomb is held accountable. I don't really think that we need a bunch of characters like I'd say there's some nice moments where even like I've seen it with Rack. I don't remember.
I agree with that. I would take that too. Like consequences for his actions, but keep going.
Yeah. So like I like when characters like the example that you mentioned, and with Rack, I remember Rack did it one time. Characters telling him like Bomb, you're wrong, or Bomb, this is not okay. But I think what Tower of God truly needs is not characters telling him, or not even Bomb himself like realizing it on his own. I think Bomb needs to get punched in the face, bro. He needs to get slapped with that stone cold reality. He needs somebody he needs Jin Sung Ha to die in his arms, bro. He needs that trauma, that Sharingan awakening level trauma, bro. And I think we're gonna get that. I think season 3, at our climax, we're gonna get something like that. And that's what I think is going to really allow Bomb to mature and grow and change. I don't think it needs to be something like other characters like babying him, or like not babying him, but like having to like tell him, or I like the fact that he's always messing up, causing all this chaos. That's what I like.
I can respect that. I'm not mad at that, because I would argue that I would probably like that more than someone particularly like talking to him. Because I'll bring up an example in a second, but I do want to ask you this: do you think Bam has technically gone through some like trials and tribulations himself, but do you think that he generally really does struggle? Like he goes through some emotional turmoil. And I've always said that the thing that Bam the consistent theme with Bam to me is him thinking loneliness is worse than death. I think about him being alone in the cave, the reason why he chased Rachel so wholeheartedly, him getting the signature of friendship from Dorsey, knowing that she's kind of a loner type, blah blah blah. Like he understands loneliness very well, and he does, and he doesn't. And I think someone asked him, "Are you scared of dying?" And I think he said something along the lines like, "I think there's things worse than death," or something like that. I'm like, I think he's mostly scared to be alone. But with that, oh shit, do you read the blog posts at all, or do you check them out?
Not really, to be honest. Only sometimes I'm like looking for like research for videos.
Low key, right answer, because you just be capping in them and changing shit. I'm gonna lie to you. But sometimes when he speaks about Bam and Tower of God, it comes across to him like he's almost held by the balls by the Korean fan base specifically, where it's like he's scared to make Bam truly suffer and struggle to earn stuff. I'm at the point now where I think Tower of God is a series where most people get strong solely based off their latent talent, potential, and ability, lineage, and external power-ups. I've accepted that from this point on. It is what it is. But I'm a person who prefers to see my character go through incredible trials and tribulations, blood, sweat, and tears to accrue the power and respect that they end up garnering. I don't think Bam does that enough. He does
Yeah, you're right,
train.
he doesn't.
He does train. I don't deny that. He's trained with Hajin Sung. He did those martial art training when he fought, like, I think Daniel. The first time he went to like a bunch of dojos and learned their combat. He's trained with the Van Kel and Han Sung Yu, learned the infinite Shinsu loop and stuff. But that's probably why it confuses me. He will do something. He'll make a flashback like, okay, Bam learned this, and in 2 chapters, a new power up. I'm like, why doesn't he ever call upon his training with the Van Kel or Han Sung Yu and apply that the way that they did in that one scene with him and Karaka waking up Yam? I thought that was good. That made sense to me. He just kind of like has this training, and he's like, okay, so here's a bunch of external power-ups. But it is what it is. But do you think Bam suffers enough? Is that why you also want to kind of get punched by objective reality?
So the thing is, right, I don't really think Bomb needs training, right? I think when I think of the regulars, I think like, you know, Yurek Mizuno, you know, I think Bomb only needs a couple of key sessions, like his sessions with Jin Sung, the stuff like the revolution with the God of Guardians, right?
Shout out to Thor.
The stuff with
Thor, yeah.
Yeah, okay, Thor. I'll call him Thor. I got you. And then what's her name?
Ivanka?
I always forget her name. Yeah, Ivanka. Yeah. So he has those sessions. I think that's all he really like. I don't really see him as the Naruto type, like the hard work, like the Asta, you know, put in the work, put in the hour, you know what I'm saying? Like
it's
all
not,
that stuff.
It's not that kind of story. It took me a long time to accept that, though.
Exactly.
That's on me.
And that's one of those things that draws me to Bomb. He doesn't really care. Like, Bomb does not care about being strong for the sake of being strong. He's not like Goku. He's not like, I want to be the strongest in the universe, you know? He's not somebody like, oh, I seek this validation, this recognition. He's not that type of guy. He's the type of guy who doesn't understand himself. And that's something I can, not really personally, like, I'm not saying I'm out here like 25th Bomb in the world, you know what I'm saying? But like, it's kind of hard as like people to like discover who you are. It's very, very difficult. And I think that like having a character that represents like not understanding what you are and then has all these things like thrown at them, right, left, right, center, like everything. So like, oh, they're a slayer now they want them to kill Jihad, and all these people have all these like expectations for them, right? And then I already made this point earlier with like him getting stronger in the floor of death by realizing like who he truly is and like wanting to become himself, having that desire. I think that's very powerful. So I don't think that Bomb's character development has been perfect. I definitely think there is a lot of issues with like the power cliffing and how he just like, as I said earlier, bro, look at a rock absorb the power, dude. Like the dumbest power ups ever, right?
I think Lazy, one of my subscribers, the first to say this, but he called him 25th Kirby, and I thought that was so apt. That made so much sense to me. I'm like, because Kirby has a copy ability and he eats everything, right? So I'm like, yeah.
It's like that, but I feel like there's so much that we can get. Like as I just said. Like when Bomb hits that reality and realizes that all the mistakes he's made and realizes that there are consequences to actions, and when Bomb like eventually I think has like another one of those emotional moments similar to the Data Jihad versus Bomb fight where he like starts to like actually have these realizations and then starts to, I think White hinted at it when he said to instead of like looking for outside power, to look at the powers that you have internally, and instead of just using them individually to like combine them all into like, I feel like it would be sort of like a multiplicative type of relationship between all the powers. Just put them all together, and I think that's how we're gonna get Bomb strong, and that's how we're gonna develop this character. And I feel like SIU is gearing towards that direction, which is why I'm looking at season 3 with a very like optimized kind of way. I'm very optimistic.
You got much more hope than me because he's been beating my ass for years, so I could see that. I'm not saying you're wrong, but do I have that level of faith right now? No. he's gonna prove that to me, because I'll say this. We'll come back to season 2 in a second, but my current biggest issue with Tower of God, honestly, One Piece, I'll be honest, if I'm throwing that in there, no tension. I feel now with Traumerei,
that's
changing, but it's like, did you really need to bring a family head, like the peak of the tower, for me to start feeling some level of like tension? I think Bam and company need to kind of experience more hardships and real consequences, short term and long term. I don't think death is the only way to showcase like consequences and tensions and stuff like that. You could have them. It could be someone got depowered, lost a limb, or the laziest, most generic example I use is Superman saved the city against Darkseid, but there was a lot of collateral damage, a lot of structural damage, a lot of people did die in the rubble, and maybe he lost a important friend or Justice League member during it. You know what I'm saying? So you did win, but it came at a cost. I don't think any of these things come at a cost. They just wins. Like what you said earlier about Hajin's Sung, I thought in my head first, like there's a part of me wanted to believe this. I'm like, imagine that Hajin Sung dies or gets teleported or whatever because Bam didn't focus on the Mario Party board and getting to the jumping pad. And because he stopped to fight White, those extra couple of turns are the very reason he didn't make it on time to save Hajin Sung. I thought that would have been a great moment for something like that. And I'm still waiting for something like that to happen to Bam. But no, he beats White. We could talk about that. I don't know how much you like that fight. I think it's actually the worst part of the series, just in general.
Yeah, I watched that video earlier to kind of pregame for this discussion. I was like, bro, what is this? Bro, that's one of my. I like that fight.
I like the beginning, and then I don't know. Yeah, the dark change didn't come, and then like 2 seconds later, he's in the suspendium. Say Leviathan, what? Yummy! He's sucking him up, like, bro, what? Like,
yeah,
it's just
kind of goofy.
It was kind of crazy. But talk to me about the White and Bam stuff, like, because some people see it so differently from me, and I'm just interested in hearing. Because you're a lot smarter than the people that try to convince me it's a good fight and telling me I'm just a sheep because I'm going along with the narrative or something. Like, what do you?
Dude, I hate that, bro. I hate people who just like they mindlessly say, "Oh, you don't understand the story, bro. Oh, you're just bandwagon."
Oh yeah.
Bro,
they
really,
always
like,
tell me I'm not reading.
it.
I'm not reading. That's what they always tell me. Oh, you didn't
we
get it.
understand it, bro. We just don't think it's the same. Like that's totally fine, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, all right. Before I get into that, by the way, just letting you know, I have to go in like 10 minutes. Just letting you know.
Okay, that's fine. I won't.
Yeah, but so the thing about White versus Bomb, I think at first upon an initial read, I was kind of like you. I wasn't the biggest fan. I'm like, this is kind of hype, kind of interesting, but that's about the extent of it.
Mm-hmm.
And then I was doing like research for my White character analysis, right? So I was reading the story through the perspective of White. And when I reread that fight, thinking about specifically only White and not really paying attention to Bomb, that's when I saw like the true value of that fight. And I really, really appreciated it because when you look at White's character development, he's a character that he really, at the root of his character, he's somebody that sought validation from his father, right?
Yes.
He's somebody that didn't really care about anything except for wanting to please and like have validation from his dad. And his dad told him that the only way, he looked at him, right? He's like, yeah, this kid, kind of a weakling, you know what I'm saying? Not really the best.
He said, go become a demon. He said, go become a demon, bro.
Yeah, he said, the only way you will ever have even the slightest chance of surpassing me is if you just go demon mode for the rest of your life and you absorb other people's souls and you just go crazy. That's the only way you will ever surpass me. And being the naive child he was, very impressionable child, of course, he listens to his dad, the person that he cares about most, the person that he wants validation from.
Mm-hmm.
And he does all of this horrendous stuff, right? But I think the way I view White as a character is that the minute he consumed his first soul, he kind of came to this realization that, okay, there is no longer Joaquin surpassing Arye-Han. It is now White surpassing Arye-Han. This is like, White is not me. White is a amalgamation of a bunch of these souls. It's not truly Joaquin. And so, tying this back into Bomb, throughout the entire series, he sees Bomb doing things like saving his teammates, White's teammates, unnecessarily, right? When White saved, or when Bomb saved everybody's life, right?
In the dollar show, yeah.
Yeah, and that said to White, okay, this guy is pure-hearted. And this pisses White off because Bomb is on a trajectory, right? He's an irregular. He's on this trajectory to, and he's with F.U.G, right? So he's on this trajectory, and people are grooming him to be able to, liberate the tower, right? Meaning that eventually he's like on the trajectory to go to Arye-Han level, but without all of this becoming a demon. So White becomes jealous of Bomb, right? He has this jealousy. He has this like inferiority complex where he's like, okay, like this guy, I want him to be
Aria says that
corrupted.
too, because Liboric had it. I remember that, and I agreed with it.
Yeah, yeah. He wants Bomb to be corrupted before he gets in. And I think that fight between White and Bomb was really White trying everything that, because White could have chopped Bomb up in the beginning of that fight. Let's be real. He could have.
Yeah.
But White was not fighting the fight. It reminds me a little bit. Might be like a wild connection. It reminds me a little bit of Luffy versus Katakuri, where Katakuri wasn't fighting to kill Luffy. He was fighting to show Luffy, hey, this is not something that you can do. Okay, you need to understand how the world works. All right, and this was White doing the same thing to Bomb. He's like, Bomb, this is not how the world works. You have to taste evil to get places in life, which is obviously false. But White is trying to project that over to Bomb. And I think that was very, very good and interesting. And I really enjoyed reading that, like, when, like, taking into context their whole development and relationship. I think that fight was a very good crescendo and a very nice ending to that relationship. I thought it was pretty good.
Okay, I got a couple of pushbacks, but
All right.
I wanted to make it clear that White's a good character. I liked White. I was rooting for him, but when White pulled up on Bam, like I'm like Bam, I'm like, White, don't do it. You're the underdog. You're not ready. Like everyone's like, oh shit. I'm like, White, it's over for him. that's what I'm thinking. Like you're like a featherweight fighting the heavyweight champion. It's literally how I kind of saw it. Cause I know Bam was strong. I knew Bam was stronger than him. But I'll say this. I think your perception on him thinking he's White more than anything is interesting. But if you go by the truest definition of how the spell works, Hawking is the host. So it's still him. But I think you mean it metaphorically in the sense that he needs the power of his siblings and souls, but he is very much still Hawking. That is the host of the body, and that's why it looks like him. And then when it changed, it looked like Vincente. So I would say that. I have no problem with White and White's character, and I think everything you said about his inferiority complex and things of that nature and him, it's more about Bam, to get strong, you gotta be bad, evil, you gotta do fucked up shit. It's the only way. You can't stay this kind-hearted, goody two-shoes and get strong. It doesn't work that way because that's how it had to be for him. And I think Urek is a good example of you not losing yourself. Because even though with Jihad changed at some point, right? Where he stopped wanting, he started wanting to do other things and stop climbing. So I think that's apt. My question for you is, why did they call it a dark change? Before I keep going. Because I would argue Bam is the exact same character after going through this ordeal. Not a single thing about him has changed except that he's stronger. Because that matters to me.
I agree with that. But I don't really see this fight in terms of Bomb. I totally agree, because when I first read it, I thought the fight was mid, right? I didn't really enjoy it. But looking at it from White, I enjoyed it. So Bomb, I totally agree. Bomb's character didn't really change from it. And actually, I saw somebody in the chat, I don't say it anymore, but I saw somebody in the chat said he would have liked the fight better if White never said that Bomb had surpassed him in power, which even if it is blatantly obvious, I definitely agree, because I think it would have been better if White had lost because he gave up his will to convert Bomb rather than actually Bomb surpassing him in power. So I think that person in the chat was right, and I think you're also right in the sense that, like, it really didn't do anything for Bomb. Like, Bomb is still the same guy after that fight. Don't get me wrong. But I just thought it was a very good ending to White's character arc for now. Anyways, I really enjoyed that. I don't. The White portion of it isn't particularly my issue. And I even thought the things he was doing was cool. His other sword, I fucking love his barrier. I don't know why. The barrier is just so cool to me. I love the barrier, but. I don't think it was visually interesting after Bam's awakening, personally speaking. He just kind of stood there and just kind of like threw a bunch of like Shinsu at him, and he kind of just deflected it. It is what it is, though. But the White portion of it isn't. I just thought it was a bit of if this is I probably won't be the end of White, but if this was the end of White, I thought this was a weird send-off for him, because I even thought the timing of this fight I still do think it's a little bit weird. It doesn't bother me as much now if I have time to think about it and get over it, but it is still easily my least favorite, especially as a week-to-week experience.
least favorite part of Tower of God because I don't particularly know what happened, and then I think the ending particularly makes me mad because Iraq and Aguero come and also just get the power ups. I'm like, was this
Yeah, that was so forced.
And then I think to myself, was the entire purpose of this to get them a little stronger so now they can do things like maybe fly and things like that so they can just kind of follow Bam in a different way? Because I'm convinced they're probably ranker level or teetering A to ranker level at this point with those little power ups. Because that was the part that I'm like, wait. What? Why are they? I'm like, good, like, cool for coming and trying to be here, but I thought they're getting the power ups. That really bothered me, but because then I'm starting to think the power up thing is being extended to other characters. I think Yama got one retroactively by having Nenne's Arcanak being in him, so now we know Arcanak's in him. So he's stronger than we initially realized. Caliban kind of got one. If you think about Liboric powering him up, and it's like, did SIU do this because he's like, shit, I just gave Bam like 1 million power-ups and made him do this. I got to power them up so I could still, like, I think him trying to keep it super ambiguous is hurting him. I think he needs to start to establish a hierarchy in power, or even, it could even be something as, yes, Caliban is stronger than Yas Ratchet, but because of his anima ability to control things, under the right circumstances, in the right situation, he's more dangerous. That's all he has to do. But I think he's so afraid for me to be like, oh, so I now know definitively Caliban is stronger than Hajin Sung. He does not want to tell me that. I don't know why, but sorry to stand the white and Bam thing. Yeah, I couldn't with it. I couldn't with it. It wasn't moving me. But I thought once we got past it, we were on the uptick, honestly. Because even with the captain or the boss, depending on your translation, being in a suspendium, and that one look would be a candidate being like, wait a minute, I'm a high ranker type, and I'm running pretty fast. How the hell is this random foot? Yeah. I'm like, yo.
That's sick. I like that a lot.
He hasn't been doing these type of things for a long time, so where I'm like, is SIU starting to kind of get back into the stride that I like him? Just because, real quick, I really like the Hodge and Sung and Holland and P. Diddy. I call him P. Diddy, but P. Diddy's part, because he's like, damn man, I should have brought whatever animal. I can't beat him with quality. I'll try quantity. And they're like thinking.
Yeah.
They got high ranker experience, and he wasn't so arrogant to be like, Holland, I don't need you. Go find your regular. He's like, nah, support me from the back while I go in.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. And then when Bam comes and everything too, I really like when they're like, okay, we gotta switch tactics here. Why don't we hit the James Harden step back until they're within the sensory range of Traumerei, and then we win. That's it. But Hodge's son was like, yo, they changed tactics. They're trying to lure us. You recognize? Like, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I really like that.
Holy, where was this shit for chapters? So many chapters. Evankel sucks. Like, she did not prove it. She did not have any of that. When Spider Mommy packed her up, she did not showcase any experience to me. Sorry, go ahead. I'll talk for a while.
No, you're good. I was going to say, because, like, I really enjoyed the tacticality. And then Jin Sung was like, oh, yeah, I know that I'm being lured, but whatever it is, it's not going to stop me in bomb. So we're going to let it happen.
Yeah.
And then he just got... Yeah.
So... Because he used to do so many things like that, I'd argue the most in Season 2. I even like them recognizing him as the Ha family massacre, because I'm like, thank you for actually addressing one of the events that made Ha Jin Sung known throughout the tower that way. Yes, he's the grandson of Ha Yurin and stuff, but that's a big deal when he lost his girlfriend, wife, fiance, don't ever remember. He murdered that entire branch. Those little things go such a long way for the consistency of the world building and lore inside the story. So I really like things like that. He's been doing it a lot more. I am a lot higher on the series post White and Bam fight than I have been for Season 3 for the majority of it. I'm very excited for the Traumerei shit.
Yeah, me too. I've been diving a little bit deeper into it. I think it's pretty good, but so I guess to sort of, because I gotta go like
I know. I'm not gonna keep you
real
long
soon.
here.
So just to quickly recap a little bit. So Season 1, I'd say it's good. I don't think any of it's bad, obviously, but Season 1.
You just say comparatively, it's your least favorite.
Yeah,
part
comparatively, just not the best. I think Season 2 definitely has the best storytelling, but I think there's a couple examples such as like Revolution Road, I think, and some of the Floor of Death, and a little bit of the chapter to chapter stuff. Throughout most of it, but just a little bit, kind of anchors just a little bit. But I think in terms of season 3, I don't think it has surpassed season 2 yet, but I'm just saying the way that the story is going, the kind of potential that it has, and also the consistency of the backstories, of course the improvements in art, and then in general, I think it's the best season, especially if you consider the potential. But I will say, especially this conversation has really kind of opened my eyes to like the really big like power cliffing problems, and the fact that SIU, especially in this season, writing himself into a little bit of a corner with like the power cliffing, and especially with like stuff like giving Kun the ability to res with a firefish. It's kind of goofy.
I didn't talk about the Phoenix Down yet, but yeah,
that's goofy. That's goofy.
I will say I like the way he used it when he powered up somebody else and took it away from them to make them be like, wait, what the fuck? And then like that, that was good because that's like Aguero level intelligence stuff that I like about him. So that was good. Did you like the name Hunt Station? Because Elaine's one of my favorite characters, and I thought she was. I think she's a great character, and I wish she had more to do because this had to do with her family because it's lophobia and how they did her dirty and stuff. But like, that's a lot of the moments that season 2 has for me that I really really like because I'm like,
I totally agree.
When I
put Name Hunt in my S tier.
Yeah, when I'll just say this and then we can wrap it up. When Indianetta was about to lose to Ran. Because after that really raw ass Machete line, I love that line about don't try to dodge the REA swordsmanship. You just take the hit, you hit it with something stronger. Fucking love that line, it's so cold. But he was like, "Don't die, Kaiser," and you kind of get the flashback of him not being a direct descendant and his family treating him a certain way, and she's like made him a 10 great boss, one of the 10 bosses on the floor because he's like, "I'd pay a lot for your talents," because in that moment she understood that he's suffering from the way that his family structure is and works, the same way they set her up to fail by making her fall in love with somebody and she couldn't become a princess, and now she's been in servitude for her family for 1,000 years. She understood that. He had so many instances like that in the second season, in my opinion, that are so good. So
yeah,
he's tapping into it a bit more, and again, I said for like all of 2022, I've been a lot higher on Tower of God, especially post Bam and White, but we're not back to its peak yet. But I do think that if this arc has proper consequences, and it ends really strong, we'll be on the uptick. I really do think that.
Yeah, I agree.
But all right, you have any final words for the people?
Yeah, man. Thank you so much for having me, man.
For sure. Let's be on.
Shout out Raikumo for
Yes. Oh yes, Raikumo.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make sure I put that in.
The link, bro.
Yeah.
Kind of put my name out there, and I just really appreciate it because this YouTube grind, it's rather difficult, man, to be completely honest, and a lot of hard work goes into it. I know you and me both, and to be able to have you kind of just bring me into the community and put my name out there, especially. I really do appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for having me on. This is like my first ever time collaborating with anybody. My first time being on stream too. Like I've been sweating buckets, hella nervous, but you know what I'm saying? Like I'm glad.
That first stream I was ever in, I won't lie to you. I was like, all right, I gotta be ready. I gotta be ready.
I got buckets of sweat right now, but yeah, it's all good, bro. Thank you so much, man. Again, I can't express my appreciation enough. You were super chill to talk to. I'd love to have you on a video sometime as well.
For sure. You're just all
anything, whenever you want to collab, I'm always here, man. It was great talking to you.
All right, man. You take care, brother.
All right, take care. I'll see you, man.
All right. Patreon gang. I want to say thank you to my certified BAM lovers. The Brilliant gang out here. Gotta say thank you to the Priest of Fire, but especially the 5th Zen God. Shout out to Sunny Kathapali, Simi, Shout Out to Your Body, Scobe, Revenant, Miles, Lucky Roo, Chris, Cayenne, Irene Sharda, Triss, David Langstaff, Childish Nujabes, Bloody Winters, Alan, and my boy Abdel. Your support is greatly appreciated. Thank you.